Hi students, how are you all? I hope all are well. Okay students, welcome to 21-22 academic year. That means now you are all in 8th standard. Okay students, from today onwards we are starting 8th standard science bridge course classes. So that means what you have studied in 7th standard science subject, so those things we recall, okay. For example, in biology you have studied life process, nutrition, that is plant nutrition and animal nutrition. In chemistry, atomic structure, chemical reactions, okay, like that. So today I will start nutrition. Okay students, let us see what is the meaning of nutrition in that plant nutrition and animal nutrition. Okay students, introduction students. As we all know that we need energy for performing various daily activities. We get this energy from the food that we eat. So we can say that nutrition is a process by which all living organisms take food and utilize it to get energy, both animals and plants or living organisms. Like animals, plants also require energy for their life activities. Thus, nutrition is an important life process of all living organisms. Okay students, now let's know about the mode of nutrition. There are two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. But what are they? The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic nutrition, and these organisms called autotrophs. Green plants are the examples of autotrophs. The mode of nutrition in which animals and many other organisms take in ready-made food prepared by the plants is called heterotrophic, and these organisms are called heterotrophs. Human, lion, tiger, etc. are the examples of heterotrophs. As we know that green plants synthesize their own food, but do you also know that how they synthesize? Okay, see, their own food, actually green plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process by which green plants synthesize their own food from the carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll and solar energy. Now you know that in plants, water, minerals and carbon dioxides are raw materials for the synthesis of food. Do you also know that? How do plants obtain these raw materials from the surroundings? And How do they transport them to the food factories of the plant? Water and dissolved minerals are absorbed directly from the soil through roots and sent to the leaves by the means of many small vessels present in the stem. These vessels run throughout the root, the stem, the branches and the leaves. They form a continuous path or passage for water and minerals to reach the life. Okay, likewise, carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny or small pores present on both surface of the leaves. Such pores are called what? Yes, stomata. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. After reaching to the carbon dioxide and water react in the presence of sunlight to form what? Yes, carbohydrate. Carbohydrate ultimately converted into different parts of plants. Therefore, the first food product is formed during the photosynthesis is starch. Starch is also an example of carbohydrate. In this process, oxygen is also released and therefore the process of photosynthesis can be represented as carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight gives carbohydrates plus oxygen. In the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide and water gives carbohydrate and oxygen releases in this process. Till now we have learnt about the photosynthesis process, but now the question is, what is its significance? Photosynthesis is an important and vital process for life on this planet. This process helps in the conversion of solar energy into organic matter. Hence, photosynthesis links the physical and biological world. Okay students, it helps in the conversion of solar energy into organic matter. Hence, photosynthesis links the physical and biological world. It is the primary source of organic food for all living forms, either directly or indirectly. It also helps in purifying air and maintaining the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the ecosystem. Okay, now let us know about those plants which do not have chlorophyll and cannot synthesize their food on their own. Just think about how do they survive and from where do they derive nutrients. As we have already learned in this model that these plants derive food from other plants and animals, and this type of mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, the plants in which this kind of mode of nutrition is found are known as heterotrophs. These are 4 types of heterotrophic plants, that is parasitic plants, saprophytic plants, symbiotic plants and insectivorous plants. Now let's learn them one by one in detail. Let's start with parasitic plants. The plants which obtain their food directly, students, obtain their food directly from other plants are known as parasitic plants. You know, as most or might have seen Cuscuta and happy nearby you, which is an example of a parasitic plant. It coils around the stem and branches as a yellow tubular structure. You will be surprised to know that it does not contain chlorophyll. So it takes ready-made food from the plants, on which it is climbing the plant, on which the climbing the plant is called as a host. When you go to a vegetable shop, you might have seen packets of mushroom sold in it. Besides that, sometimes you may have also seen umbrella-like patches growing on rooting wall during rainy season. But do you know that what these organisms are and how they get their nutrition? Students, these organisms are commonly called fungi and they get their nutrition from dead and decaying matter. To get their nutrients from dead and decaying matter, they secrete digestive juice and converted into a solution is made of nutrition in which is called separate trophic nutrition, and organisms which use this kind of mode of nutrition are called saprophytic nutrition. The fungi are separate roles. Students, like as plants also require a lot of nitrogen to make proteins, so they absorb nitrogen continuously from the soil, due to which the amount of nitrogen becomes deficient. As you all know that there is 70% of nitrogen present in our atmosphere, but plants cannot use it in the manner directly, as they can use carbon dioxide. They require nitrogen in soluble form. The bacterium called Rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. These bacteria live in the roots of ground plants and other leguminous and provide them with nitrogen. In return, the plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria. Thus, we can say that Rhizobium shows a symbiotic relationship. Students, nutrition